Welcome everybody to today's session here at DCentral Miami, and we're excited today to talk about the upcoming play-to-earn GameFi revolution that's been taking off, which has been a combination of both my favorite topics is NFTs and DeFi. Today we have a special guest talking about this topic. We have Dan, who is the CTO of Studio 369, which is behind MetalCore Games. Hey Dan, how's it going?
How are you doing? Glad to be here.
Doing great, doing great. I guess before we jump into this topic too, I guess you want to give a little bit of background about yourself and MetalCore Games in general as well, to give people an idea of what you've been working on.
Yeah, so I've been working in the game industry for over 15 years myself, and mostly spent a lot of time working on kind of big name console games. Got my start working on Mortal Kombat and a lot of kind of larger teams, and then kind of transitioned into kind of smaller indie style games. And more recently, we've been starting to get interested in like you mentioned, this kind of GameFi revolution. And Studio 369, we're a relatively new studio, but we're all industry veterans, game industry veterans. So we've all been at this for quite a long time. And in a sense, we're really experienced in the kind of traditional video game side of things, but we're a little bit new to the crypto side. So we're kind of learning as we go, but we're kind of hoping to bring that kind of hardcore game, professionalism, that design, that kind of we know how to do into this into this world, and really try to merge the two as well as we can. So.
Yeah, which is much needed. I think what we're seeing now with the early waves, even with NFTs right now, with other projects and other companies, it's right now just been flat JPEGs, and then also too for the gaming side, it's just been simple games like your click point and click adventure type of and spit out a crypto token, right?
Yeah, pixel art, and those games are great. There's nothing wrong with those games, but there is kind of I do think that there might be like it's almost kind of a microcosm of almost the reemergence of the video game industry as a whole, like the history of video games. Like you're seeing it kind of play out in fast forward, like over the course of a couple of years, but within the context of blockchain, right? Like people are almost reinventing like 8-bit games, and then it's like, oh wait, we can now we can do this kind of 3D stuff that we're gonna do, and it's like let's like rapidly get to where we know we can actually get modern games. Where we have modern games, like where we can develop that stuff. There's no reason why that stuff can't also come to blockchain too, right? So that's what we're focusing on right now.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much just about mass adoption, and even just portability too for gamers all around. I think the barrier entry right now for just even playing like back then, like CryptoKitties and some of these other games was just huge. But also too, it's like I think what's interesting too, what you're saying is like if the game is inherently not even like a game that normally people play, if they're just degenning and buying all these different assets, that's great. But like, it's only going to be for the crypto audience and crypto crowd.
Right.
And, I think that what you're saying is that you guys have been coming from the real video game experience side and trying to bring that into the industry as well too.
Yeah. What we really want to do is we want to kind of open up the market from a different perspective, which is obviously you're right that kind of mass adoption is very important in this model. But what we can do is we can find market wherever we can, and then we can expand. We don't have to expand all at once, and we don't have to limit our market by saying we only have one thing and that's what our entire market is going to be. So our idea right now is saying, well, what we do right now is we really appeal to the hardcore gamers, people who really want to jump in and play a game like Battlefield, or if you remember a game called PlanetSide 2 from came out like 12 or 13 years ago. It was one of my favorite games, and it's one of the big inspirations for us. It's one of the things that we're really trying to kind of take a lot of inspiration from right now. And if we can get players who really like playing those games into our game, there's no reason why we then can't also go back and get some sort of like interesting mass adoption model for everyone else who can't afford to buy a gaming PC or who isn't interested in that. And one of our core concepts is layering different experiences on top of the same blockchain kind of central core. So we'll have the same MetalCore NFTs. We'll have that same economy that services all of our experiences. And our first experience is going to be a hardcore, traditional video game. But our next one could still be like a mobile card battler or a web-based, like clicker game. Like there's no reason why we can't do that stuff too. But what we want to do is start off by showing, like, first and foremost, we really want this to be a game universe, right? Like we're not saying those things are wrong or bad, or we're not going to go down that route, but we want to demonstrate that this is going to be a real game and a real game universe with lots of different and really interesting ways for people to play.
Which is great. I think what you're pretty much saying is that there's going to be the first initial core game that you guys are building, but then there are other games. Would it all be in the same kind of universe, or it's
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
Okay.
So it's all same universe, and the idea there is like, we're going to start by saying, here's something that we know we can do really well. Here's something that we ourselves want to build. Like I myself want to play this game. Like I haven't played a game like PlanetSide 2 in a long time. And I really want to bring my own twist to it. Once we've established that, and once that has, hopefully grown popular and started to work, there's no reason why we can't then say, for all the people who are interested in our universe and interested in the kind of the GameFi aspect of it, owning the NFTs, participating in the kind of the tokenomics and everything, but aren't into the kind of real-time shooter aspect of everything, they might want to have a more tactical, slow pace, more of a chill way of interacting with our game universe. And we want to be able to provide that to them too, right? So maybe an RTS, maybe a card battler, maybe, some sort of a kind of, higher level Forex strategy game. There's no reason we can't do it. Long term. So
nice. And I see that you guys are building up kind of, you're still in like early pre-launch, and you guys have, I guess you're starting out with your early mint NFT program that's coming out with the 10,000 war machines.
Yeah. We're doing our mint in January. We're making a lot of progress on our white paper. Hopefully we're going to have that out in the next couple of weeks for people to take a look at before January mint. One of the cool things about it is that we've made a lot of progress on most of our game development. We've been working on it for quite a while now, and we're going to be able to offer a private alpha in April for certain NFT holders to kind of get early access to play the game and and participate in a couple of private alpha play tests with us. So.
Nice. So definitely, everybody's watching, just definitely join the waitlist, get tuned and get caught up with what's coming up as well for some early alpha. If with MetalCore, I guess, would you guys still be in the white paper and the NFTs too? Then is the idea that there's going to be like a MetalCore coin then, or that's still like TBD? It's just
we know we're going to have two tokens. So we have the Fab token, which is going to be our uncapped utility token. So it's basically you earn it from playing the game, and you consume it in order to do multiple things within the game, including things like crafting new vehicles, merging vehicles in order to upgrade them, doing things like repairing your vehicles in order to kind of like get around it. Most vehicles have like a certain spawn limit within a 24-hour period. Like you can only use, even like especially the most powerful mechs. One of the ways that we're balancing our game is that even if you have like the most powerful thing in vehicle in the entire universe, when you play it, it's going to be amazing, but you can't just continue playing it every round, right? Like you're gonna have some limit to how many times you can spawn in that thing. So you're gonna, in order to kind of quickly, quote unquote, repair that vehicle, you're gonna have to pay some amount of utility token, commensurate to its power level or whatever, to speed that up. So that's going to be one of our main tokens is Fab, which is short for fabricator, which is kind of like our within our universe. It's this idea of this kind of like AI 3D printer essentially that kind of creates these massive war vehicles. Our other token that we have is going to be our governance token. So we're calling that MGT. It's going to be mainly used for staking, yield farming, and then obviously like voting on configuration changes to the game and stuff like that.
Yeah, awesome. It seems like with the governance token coming up as well too, I've started to look at you guys' info as well too. It seems like you guys have different factions as well. Does that mean that you guys are thinking about? Are you guys thinking about like building kind of guilds or those guild systems into that, or that's still like super early on? So
yeah, no, that's like a really core part of our design, is that we have this system of guilds that we call baronies, and anybody who owns an NFT can start a barony. And what you do is a barony is essentially like a management pool. It's basically like a scholarship system for Axie, but built directly into the game. So your barony manages a pool of vehicles and allows pilots to pilot those vehicles. Even as a pilot, like as a player who doesn't own any NFTs, you can join a barony and become like a reserve pilot. And if any of these vehicles are available for you to use, if they have any like spawns left, and if the barony leaders have like authorized you to use those vehicles, like they have to release them to you, right? So you have to basically prove that you're good enough. You have to kind of like maybe play a little politics within the barony. Then you get access to some of the cool mechs that they own. You can pilot them in battle, earn a little bit of your own, like earn a bit of commission from using those mechs, while the lion's share obviously goes back to the people who own them. And so we kind of have this built-in scholarship system from Axie designed directly into the game with this barony system. And we're hoping that players like and also like DAOs and kind of existing guilds. We've been in a lot of discussions with them as to what kind of features they want. And I think a lot of them think this is really cool that we have this kind of built in, and it's going to be very central to the way players interact with our game.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, the DAOs, the guild DAOs, the GameFi DAOs that are still not here yet, and that's to come. You know, we haven't. That's why I'm super bullish. It's like that's DAOs are definitely growing, but I think we'll start seeing these, essentially like your favorite esports team going decentralized even. That might be bigger than your FaZe clans.
Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, like the kind of the opportunity for like how these organizations define their relationships with one another, and the game developers and the community, and then like how they redefine their own kind of competitiveness amongst one another is going to be just such an interesting, like, organic thing that evolves out of all of this, that I just can't wait to see.
I'd like to see some like EVE Online style stuff where somebody will actually take a 2-year espionage to enter and infiltrate a DAO and just drain it, do a bank run, or just take over the governance of that. It's going to happen. I mean, we've already seen it in EVE Online, but I wonder if we see it like on a DAO level as well. It'll be interesting to see. When it comes to, I guess, a little more on the technical side of deciding on building for blockchain, building these games for blockchain as well too. Have you guys thought about like when you kind of like which chains are you guys evaluating, or is it still like open and flexible? We're thinking about Crosschain as well too. I know that it's always been like a challenge for a lot of games initially, right, with the high ETH gas fees.
Yeah. So there's a lot of kind of competing kind of like imperatives, right? Like you want to go where a lot of people already have wallets. You want to go where a lot of people already have a lot of their assets, right? So anything that's Ethereum related is like very attractive. And then there's the gas fees are a huge problem, right? Like a lot of people that a lot of our fans in our Discord are like begging us, please don't go on mainnet Ethereum. And we're like, yeah, obviously, like we don't want to do that, because we don't want players to be spending hundreds of dollars just to kind of like, even step foot into our game in the smallest possible way. Right. So so we've decided we definitely need to go onto some sort of layer 2 solution. And there's a couple of technologies that we're evaluating right now, specific blockchains, EVM compatible layer 2 blockchains that we're in like deep discussions with 2 of them in particular, just kind of finalizing discussions as to which of those 2 we're going to be on, which of those 2 we're going to launch on. The interesting thing is that you don't have to restrict yourself.
Yeah, you don't have to find.
But this is kind of like we're kind of in those final stages of discussion right now.
Yeah, that's just always great to hear, and also at least like the thinking about the design process too for anybody that's thinking about building a blockchain game and thinking about the different chains out there too. It's still super early for everybody still, but I think it's in the right mindset to stick with the EVM, at least the EVM compatible layer 2 or layer 1 solution out there and whatnot.
Yeah.
Looking, I guess, to the future, obviously you guys are gearing up for upcoming launch. There's an alpha that's coming up in April as well too, and then it seems like your first NFT drop in January 2022 as well too. I guess what's on the other things you guys might be excited, whether it be for your guys' project too, or even some other stuff that you've been tracking as well for the space in general for play to earn and GameFi.
Well, one of the things that we're really looking forward to is making the jump from UE4 to UE5 at some point in the future. That's something that we have slated to do in 2022. We've got a lot of people who have asked us why we haven't been developing in UE5 from the beginning. And this is just kind of like, we're like kind of conservative video game developers who don't want to take risks that we don't need to. And starting development on an engine that is still in early access is something that I would categorize as a risk, and it kind of just makes me nervous. So we've been holding off on switching to UE5, but we've definitely been tracking like when's the right step to do it, and working very closely with Epic to kind of get that actually development, like actually month-to-month development plan with them, to be like, all right, here's when we're going to do this, and here's when we're going to do this, and do you think like from here to here would be a good time for us to think about upgrading, and like that tight collaboration with them has been really helpful. And I'm really confident that at some point in 2022, targeting maybe late 2022, we'll be able to start thinking about making the jump to UE5. So that's something that I personally am really looking forward to as kind of a long time, game development geek. I'm really excited to get my hands on a new engine. So.
And you don't need to go too much details of this thing, but it seems like just was it like a couple months ago or so that Epic finally said that they are allowing like blockchain-based games on there, not Steam as well. I guess just generally, like without going too much details, how's that been in terms of like conversation with like the more traditional people in the industry, right? Like even your friends and other developers in space, like all colleagues, how are they taking blockchain gaming?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's interesting because there's a lot. So Epic's been great. Epic has been very, very supportive of crypto-based games. I honestly think a lot of the whole Steam thing is really just about they don't know how to handle the legal of it, and they're obviously the kind of the bigger, I don't want to say dinosaur, but like they're the big cruise ship that can't change direction very quickly, and so they're a little bit more worried about like how do we get our way around regulation and all the different locales and all that stuff. And Epic is like, well, we'll figure it out as we go along. So I think that's kind of the difference in mindset between the large company and the smaller company in the space. In terms of like other people in the industry, I think there's a lot of game devs who are like intrigued by the idea of going into crypto, and there's a lot of kind of like negative stereotypes still about crypto in general and like NFT projects and stuff that I personally think what we really need to do is just like be more equipped to address head on. A lot of the especially if you read things like traditional gaming press, most traditional gaming press is really, really negative on any sort of blockchain-based games.
And NFTs,
yeah, they're all like, if you read Kotaku, they're like, 100%, they're like, we're not even going to cover it. It's stupid. I don't want it. And if you read like their rationale for why, most of it is like really like it's genuine. Like they're not, they think they're like making good points, but it's mostly outdated points and points that I think we have really strong rebuttals to, but they're just not willing to listen. And hopefully at some point, if we or someone out there becomes big enough, they won't have any choice but to listen. And hopefully at some point they become genuinely interested in having a conversation about it. But in particular, I think we really need to, this is why we're interested in really kind of finding the right layer 2 solution. The environmental concern is one thing that I think a lot of like gaming press is really hitting on, right? So like, can we make sure that we're finding the right layer 2 blockchain in order to alleviate those concerns? One that's like environmentally conscious, one
Proof of
that's
stake and
yeah, exactly.
options too.
You know, and I think that's those, like, not shying away from that criticism, but instead figuring out the right way to be like, all right, I hear you. Here's what we're doing to like address that, and we're handling it, right? So that's the best way to handle that.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we're coming to the tail end of our fireside chat here. I guess, would you like to share any last few thoughts? And we'll definitely have to get you at another event, and also too, potentially, you know, we're definitely want to have like a pure GameFi con. We'll definitely love to have you back on and come through.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd love to chat with some of the other kind of people associated with some of the other big projects in the scene. But yeah, I mean, just thanks a lot for having me on. It's been nice chatting with you, and I hope we'll get a chance to do it again soon.
Awesome. Take a look at MetalCore through metalcoregame.com. And they're also hosting another full demo talk, so you can actually learn more about the game here at DCentral. So be out on the lookout for the talk as well. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.